Hey everybody, welcome to the heart of Colorado. We are way up above the town of Buena Vista, and we're photographing several 14ers on this mission. Right behind me is Mount Tabeguache, and right that direction is Mount Antero. And after my really cool intro, I'll show you the video from our adventure photographing Mount Antero. Welcome to the next episode featuring my least favorite tree in the world right now. There's mosquitoes everywhere. Tonight we are attempting to photograph Mount Antero. So I hopped in the Jeep and we're driving up a fairly technical, fairly narrow four-wheel drive road up to Boulder Mountain that has a really nice view of Mount Antero, which is off in this direction. But our tree friend back here decided that this is the end of the road for us. But thankfully on the drive up, I saw some nice compositions back down behind us. So we're gonna go find our spot for the night and get some photos of Mount Antero. Man, this is extremely annoying. It's such a narrow road. There is nowhere to turn around. I've probably backed down this road for, I don't know, maybe half a mile or so, but check this out. We have this really nice view of Antero right there. So I'm gonna back up all the way to where I can turn around, and then I think I'm gonna have to reverse back uphill to get to this spot. There are so many mosquitoes. I don't really want to be out walking too much until it's dark, and I want to get set up before then. So yeah, nice little extra adventure in driving in reverse on a sketchy mountain road. This is fun. All right, so it looks like we got our spot for the night. Not too bad, and a really nice view of Mount Antero. I was hoping to be a couple miles further up the road, but this is what the adventure has given us, and I really can't complain. So I didn't realize another opportunity I'm gonna have tonight. Right in that direction is Mount Princeton. I got this image of Mount Princeton earlier in the year. It was one of the first 14ers I photographed. I'm always looking for opportunities to find new compositions for these mountains. So I might not do too much of vlogging because I'm gonna have that camera, my vlogging camera, my OM1 running a live composite star trail. I wanna get some nice circles of stars right over Mount Princeton because I think we're due south of it, maybe just a little bit off, but it should be a really nice star trail effect from this angle. As far as what we got going on that direction, the main subject for tonight, Mount Antero, we have some really nice little pine trees right in the foreground. I always like having a little bit of depth to my images, and it's sitting perfectly for like a 35mm shot. So I'm definitely gonna do a few at 35 and make sure that I get the images I need with that. Then I might throw on my RF50 and do a bit of a panorama. The other really cool thing that I get to use tonight is the newest version, a prototype of the Nomad tracker from Move Shoot Move. They've made a few adjustments. I'm gonna show you guys what is so cool about that tracker, and we'll see how it works tonight. This right here is a new prototype of the Nomad tracker, and I've already got it kind of set up the way I want it, but I wanted to show you guys a few of the really cool features. Now, it is different from the Move Shoot Move because it doesn't have that time-lapse rotator function. It is strictly a little portable star tracker. A lot of people didn't love the way that you polar align the Move Shoot Move. People didn't like the bracket. So I think everyone's gonna love how the scope and the laser mount onto this little unit. So the way that you mount the laser is with this little bracket that screws right into place in the back of the Nomad rotator, and the bracket that holds the polar scope can be used right in unison with the laser, and this little metal bracket that you screw the laser into actually can hold the polar scope in place. So once it's all set up, you can attach both the laser and the polar scope and send the lasers directly through the unit through a really small hole in there, and it seems like it's going to be really accurate. The other thing that the Nomad has corrected from the Move Shoot Move is some people were getting issues with it, the ball head unscrewing from the stud on the Move Shoot Move, and this mounting system completely corrects that. So it comes with this screw-on base, and you can attach the ball head or the V plate or whatever you want to hold your camera directly to this. It has these nice little teeth that hold everything in line, and you can screw it right into place. Oh man, there are so many mosquitoes out here. This is driving me crazy. I hope they go away by the time the stars are out. Looks like I have a few more hours, and I'm gonna get some of my foreground shots during blue hour, and then as soon as these stars are out, we're gonna make it happen. So that night out at Mount Antero ended up going really, really well. I was able to photograph Antero and Princeton just like I was hoping to, and yes, the mosquitoes ended up going away. So this first image here is Mount Antero. Now, as you saw, I was trying to get up a little bit higher than what I was able to photograph, and that road switchbacks into a really nice location up above tree line. But, I mean, that's part of the adventures. We have to deal with what the mountains give us, so I wasn't able to get exactly where I wanted to, and you can kind of tell because in this image, any of my Milky Way freak friends who know exactly what the sky is doing here, you know that Scorpio and Antares and the Dark Horse Nebula are really cool just outside of the frame of this image, and I would have loved to capture them, but if I would have panned right at all, it would have gotten really messy with a bunch of trees, and I would have had a hard time masking them out, and it would have just dirtied up the frame. So I decided to not include Scorpio, which is weird for me, but it is just part of how the night went. Still happy with this image. One thing I love about being up that high in elevation and that far away from town is there's no light pollution that's affecting it. So I'm able to get really poppy colors, really good details in the galactic core. And this Canon RP has just been working out so well for me. You can see how good it's capturing the details in the nebulas, bringing out that extra H-alpha gas. So yeah, it's kind of a simple image, nothing too exciting, but another successful shot. And the other thing I was looking at was photographing Mount Princeton. And you can see in this first image here, I was able to use my OM1 to do that live composite, and I got really nice star trails. I love how Polaris was fairly centered over the top of the mountain, and it just made that really nice spiral. Now to make this image, I shot that live composite, but I exposed it to get good details and good colors in the stars. If you overexpose, you'll just get white stars, and there's really so much more color out there in the sky. So after I completed shooting the live composite, I went back into just the live bulb mode, and I think I did a 4-minute exposure of the foreground. It's still completely authentic. I didn't move my camera in any way. I just kind of blended 2 different exposures, and I think it is still like a legitimate photograph. It's not a complete composite or anything like that, and I'm really happy with how that came out. So the next image we have of Mount Princeton here is a normal track shot. Again, I used my Canon RP and my RF 50mm lens. This one's really cool because you get those kind of tail end of the Milky Way nebulas that are really prominent. And I just love how this image came out. Mount Princeton looks cool. I like my trees in the foreground. Something I'm gonna want to do as this project progresses, I think, is get a bit closer to the mountain. I don't mind this. You can still definitely tell it's the tallest mountain in that range there, but I kind of wish I was up on one of the ridges really close to it to get a more of an intimate portrait of the face of this mountain. But nevertheless, I think it's a really nice addition to the collection of images here, and something I wasn't really expecting to be able to do. While we were going to photograph Antero was the main subject, it's always fun to get a few kind of bonus images for the 14ers project. So if you're interested at all in one of these prints, go to the print website that's in the description of this video. It's chasingluminance.darkroom.com, and all of my 14er images are available there. Now, before we jump out to Tabeguache and see how that adventure went, I'm gonna ask for those likes, comments, subscribe. Another thing that could be really helpful is if you guys could share this video. Share it on Facebook, share it on Instagram, text a link to a friend who you think would love some pictures of giant mountains underneath the stars. Anything that you can do to help kind of spread out what this project is all about would be incredibly helpful to me. So thank you very much for that. Now, let's go see if we made it happen out at Mount Tabeguache. It looks like tonight is going to be just about as successful. As long as these clouds stay away, we're going to have a beautiful view of Mount Tabeguache behind me. This was a bit of an adventure on the 4-wheel drive trail to get up here. I brought along Laura and one of our friends, Valeria, and they're over there setting up tents and setting up fires. So I gotta go help them, but we're gonna have a really cool shot tonight. We have a few different options for a foreground. This tree right here should be a really nice foreground element with the mountain behind it. And I think it'll look really good at a 35mm with a little panorama action. And over by the girls, there's that fire pit, which could provide another really cool element for a foreground. obviously you can see from this time lapse here that, yeah, it was a beautiful, perfect night out there. And I've just been loving the adventure side of this project, getting to four-wheel out in really remote, really cool places that I probably would never go if I didn't have the motivation of capturing these 14ers as part of that. And being out with friends also is just so much fun. All right, now let's get to the images. During the night, I set up my tracker kind of near the fire, just off to the side a little bit. So the first foreground I photographed was exactly where my camera was when I was tracking. And I got this image here of Tabeguache with these trees lit up by the fire. And I'm kind of debating, and I need your guys' help, and I need your guys' comments. Which one of these images should I use as the primary image for Tabeguache in the book? This image is cool. I like it. But I'm kind of going back and forth and debating whether or not I like the feeling of the human presence that obviously made that fire. That fire is illuminating the trees underneath the sky. Does it tell a bit of a better story? I don't know. I would love your guys' opinion on that one. And compare this one with the next potential final image we have, which is this one. So I walked over, and this is the same tree I was talking about when I was doing the vlog there, that it would make a nice foreground element. And I do really like how that tree looks. It breaks up the horizon of the mountain, adds a bit of balance to the frame, because we have Scorpio and the peak of Tabeguache, and the main core of the Milky Way is kind of centered off to the right, and we have that tree balancing out the frame with a nice, interesting element. We also have that dead wood down there at the bottom, which I think looks pretty cool. Now, an interesting detail with this image is that on the far side of that valley, you can see that those trees are still lit up with that orange glow from the fire. So I think our human presence in this image is going to be inevitable. And I don't really want to just Photoshop it out, like desaturate the oranges. It's part of the authenticity of the image, is that we were out there, we had our nice fire, and it's a little bit of the story. So yeah, what do you guys think? Do you like this image, or do you like this image where you see that really obvious glow from the fire? Now, another thing I was able to capture was this one. Again, I used my OM1 with the live composite mode, and I again shot my foreground after completing the live composite session with that longer exposure, just to give more detail and show the landscape and the scenery that is below this beautiful peak here. So those are the images from that beautiful weekend we spent out there. We have Antero and Tabeguache done. Tabeguache is located really close to Mount Chavano, which I was able to photograph in this video right here, if you guys want to check out the process for capturing that. But yeah, overall, nice little addition to the project. Please guys, if you could, again, I'm going to ask, likes, comments, subscribe for more videos like this one. Please do leave me a comment with which image of Tabeguache you like the best. And also, if you could, leave me a little bit of a comment. If you've made it this far, obviously you're interested in the project, but let me know why you are interested. Are you interested for the adventure side, the astro side, just my good looks, whatever it might be? If I get a little bit of feedback, I'll know how to make content that is not just showing the adventure, but more informative, more entertaining, more of whatever you guys want it to be, because I definitely want to make sure this is a mutually enjoyable experience for everybody. All right, I am done. I'm going to end things like I always do with one of those time lapses. This one's going to be our fire underneath Mount Tabeguache.